Rave Reviews welcomes you to Tuesday's Terrors, where we have casual conversations about what the horror community is watching. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and join us for Tuesday's Terrors.
Hello and welcome to the show. We absolutely positively welcome you and are so glad that you're here with us. We've got a really fun time. We're kicking off the Halloween season, the spooky season, if you will, talking about what we feel may be some top 5 movie picks. Chris and I have talked about this for a while, and what we decided to do was reach out on social media, ask people, hey, what are your top 5 for the spooky season?
Mhm.
And we've got some really cool mentions. So that all being
Yeah,
said, Chris, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well now that it's Tuesday terror time.
I,
Day was a long day, so I'm happy for this segment of my uh viewing day.
I'm with you. It's funny. I've told Mar many times. Uh, Tuesday and Thursday nights, this is my I get to like hit the reset button day because of what we do here. And so that being said, welcome everybody again, and we appreciate you, Chris. Thank you so much for being a part of this little silly universe that we call Grave Reviews. Um, Tell the people a little bit about your list and why you put it together, or where would you like to start? Actually,
Well, first, like you were mentioning earlier, I want to thank the people that reached out with their lists. Got a good response and an eclectic list. I'm excited for what you've gotten because I've got some too that were just some off the wall ones that
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna watch that this year because somebody had it in their list. I'm gonna check it out. So yeah, so definitely. And top 5, I kind of took this one for my list is the movies I like to watch every year. Spooky season hits, officially, October 1st. The whole month is, there's don't need an excuse for a horror movie anymore. It's
Yes.
that time. So, and I like to watch certain ones. I have more than 5, but I like to watch certain ones every year for the holiday season for Halloween. So
I
that's where I went with my list.
I took my list in a slightly different direction. I said, what is well, hello thing. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Yes.
um has Thing been with us
I believe we
before?
have a new
I
visitor,
believe we
a
do. And
new
as we do
member.
when we see a new guest come into the Talking Dead,
Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us. Gabba gabba, we accept you, one of us.
by being here. Thank you for coming and joining us tonight. Hopefully, you enjoyed the conversation. Join
Welcome.
in. Our Talking Dead do nibble, but they do not bite on the newbies just yet. And please feel free to join in. We definitely want your opinion. Um, what I did this year is I looked at it as if I were going to give 5 movies to a newbie,
Mhm.
someone who's new to the horror genre,
Entry
and
level.
I wanted to walk them up to a good experience. What movies would I start with, and where would I have them go? That was kind of how I approached
So
my list this year.
Tusk and Human Centipede and
Yeah, no, no, not those.
I was
I
just
actually want someone who's gonna watch movies with me, so I'm not gonna throw them into, The Exorcist or Cannibal Corpse, right
right,
away.
right.
Right? So,
Yeah.
um, it's funny, for those of you who are in the chat room right now, do me a favor, list your number 1 for this, season. If you were going to list a spooky movie that you have to watch this season. Tell us what your number 1 would be. Chris, being movies that you watch every year, what's your first go to?
Yeah, I'm not ranking these. Like I said, it'd be way too hard to rank
Oh,
these ones.
absolutely.
And I picked some of the really we got a great response and some of my top ones are picked already. So I kind of
Hmm.
steered away from that, but chose ones that I would watch. So I'm gonna throw out there for the found footage stuff. I am a big fan of paranormal activity. Now I've seen them
Oh,
all,
nice.
but if you do the chronology, it's called the chronology. It's 1, 2, and 3, but they put them in chronological order. So you get the third one, and then you get the second one, and then you get a bit of the third one and the first one, and they kind of mix it all together. So everything's time framed out. It's fun. I just like the little things. I'm a ghost hunter, man. So staring at a screen, trying to find what's going on, and then seeing something that you're like, whoa. They're fun
M-
movie.
Mar says that her go-to is always going to be The Lost Boys.
Choice.
Good,
Perfect
great choice. I can't tell you how many times we've watched that movie. I love it. I could watch it right. Matter of fact, if we ended the show right now, I'd go in the other room and watch it right now just because you brought it up.
Good.
For me, my chronological, I'm introducing someone to horror for the very first time. Hello, Ubaldo. Thank you for coming, sir. If I were introducing someone to horror for the first time, I would start out very gently and I would say, hey, you have to watch Charlie Brown's The Great Pumpkin.
Oh yeah.
You
I mean,
know,
that's a seasonal classic. We watched it, if what's that, the 60s that it
yeah,
came out? I
and
mean,
that's actually, if you think about it, that's a
childhood
lot
thing,
of
man.
us how we got started in
It's
horror.
like one of our first, man. It was a CBS thing that you
Hmm.
popped on and you got to see. Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
the Great
and
Pumpkin.
and sometimes you'd get lucky and they'd show Ricky Tikki Tavi right next to it.
Oh
And if you remember that one scared the out of me.
yeah. Yeah, that's a little off the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because if you move, I will strike the boy.
Jeez.
Oh, horrible, horrible,
Yeah,
horrible.
hashtag childhood traumas.
No doubt, no doubt. LG says that Halloween is in her the movie OG Halloween is in her list of movies as well. Great choice. Actually, that one is in the top 5 of the suggested by The
Absolutely.
Walking Dead out on or Talking Dead out on the internet. That was one of the top 5 that was given to us.
Yep,
So
definitely a staple.
absolutely.
Nothing beats Captain Kirk chasing you around with a knife
I've
at
always said,
Halloween time.
who knew that William Shatner could be so damn scary?
Right, you shat my pants.
Anyway,
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna throw out there another one. Your beautiful wife has already said it. The Lost Boys.
yes,
I have to. One, it's a Corey movie.
hmm
So, and it's got both of them in it. So the
it gave us our
Coreys,
Corys.
exactly. And so we've got the Coreys. It's classic 80s, the best use of a greased up sax player in cinema ever. Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's rides that funny, but when it wants to give you a jump scare, it gives you the jump scare and the teeth come out.
Yes,
And had a nice twist. Great movie. So that's
yep,
definitely on my list every year.
yep,
I watch it several times throughout the year. Now you can't judge me because it's October.
and it's the only movie that I can watch and go. I think they said the word Michael 368 times.
I only knew this, Michael.
Michael, I love.
Star.
Yeah, God, I love that movie. When he the return of Eddie Munster. I mean, just
Oh,
some of the lines in that movie were great. Of course,
you're
Death by
right.
Stereo.
Death
Oh,
by stereo.
um, my second leads right in the same reason you picked this one. And again, leading someone new. I would say watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah.
Right, extremely funny. It lays it out for you, the comedy when you see it. I watch this one with Mar every year, just like I do the Lost Boys,
Yeah.
and it would also introduce them to a gore factor while still tickling their funny bone,
Yeah.
which makes it a little easier to
It's
swallow.
Alan Tudyk.
Oh yeah, and
Classic Alan Tudyk. He's perfect in it. And yeah, his reaction to the gore is some of the funniest.
oh yeah.
Oh,
When he's holding that guy
hilarious.
by the legs, looking
Yeah.
in the wood chipper, going, going, "Are you okay in there?"
Yeah.
Oh my
What?
god! you know, so as we've talked about on a psychological point of view, we know that comedy and horror walk a very thin line. They're relatives of each other. So
Mhm.
when you do it right, you can actually show someone impale themselves on a stick and get a laugh out of it if it's done correctly.
Right.
And Tucker and Dale absolutely did. So that's my number 2 on my list of getting people started into horror.
Right. It's a good list. It's funny. It is. It's one of those. There's a lot of gore out there, especially through our slasher '80s.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's a fun one to bring somebody into. And I will mention there's a TikTok that was going around. I didn't jump on board with the Stitch, but how somebody was basically saying, "How could you watch horror? It's disgusting. You know, there's something wrong with you." One, maybe there might be something wrong with us.
Yeah.
That's not for you to say.
No.
And two, it is that we live in a world with real things that are scary. So to be able to go into a movie and have something scare you, you are
Mhm.
in control because it's a movie, unless it's The Ring and you watch it and you got 7 days.
Yeah, well, you know.
That's different.
Or Final Destination,
Right. It's yeah, we'll get there. We'll get
log
there.
trucks, log trucks.
Nice
Woohoo.
segue. Nice segue. Because I'm going into this as here is one of those real world scenarios.
Yep.
Final Destination 2, the log truck. I'm going to share a little bit with you here. Because there's my share screen. I think you gotta accept. This was my ride today.
Oh God.
Okay. Okay, that's my ride today. And I was gonna go into my camera roll because I take pictures of them every time. Like, haha, Gen X can't get me. And I didn't have to because here we are.
Oh my God.
I run into one the last leg of my journey today. So that scene, Final Destination 2, with your time is up, your time is up. One of those logs, all of those logs are gonna come at you faster than you can duck.
That
So
scene lives rent free in so many people's
rent-free.
heads.
And the reason why I give them a wide berth, this is a very zoomed in shot. I'm behind
Yep.
him. There's a line of cars up my butt, and they're probably like, why won't he get closer? Because I'm smart. That's
Because
why.
I've seen the damn movie.
Yeah, been here. This has happened before. Not gonna get me. Not today, Satan. Not today.
Literally, when we were living in Wyoming, of course, there was log trucks everywhere all the time.
Oh yeah.
And me and Mark both were like, "Oh hell no, it ain't happening."
Nope. Not gonna do it. So again, plenty of room between me and him. Somebody want to jump in front of him, smash into him, those logs safely out of the way. I'm good because of that movie. I watched
Absolutely.
one and two are great. I like 1, 2, and 3. 3 was like soft reboot with a new group.
Yes.
But it still had uh oh, his name is
I
out of my head now.
Candyman.
Candyman, yeah, Todd. Tony Todd.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we have him in it, and he comes back as like the devil, I think, in the third one. So yeah, perfect.
Perfect. LG says she'll never let anyone leave a drink in her car because it just may roll under her brake pedal. I
Or it
love
could
it.
be just one of those education when we gave my very young brother-in-law Mountain Dew and Cheetos, and never knew that you can make orange mud into carpet in the back seat.
Oh
The
God.
two are smashed together and mixed. So
So I take it Final Destination 2 is one of your top 5.
absolutely, those are the warning labels that
Yes.
they put on things that you can't read.
My number 3 and slowly bringing someone into the fold is Trick or Treat.
Good one.
Great. Takes place at
Sam's here.
takes place at Halloween. Very as you, I don't know if you've noticed yet, and I think you will on my next pick. Every one of these movies steps you a little closer to being that
A
intense,
little
right? It's
more
just a
intense.
little
And
more than
this one's a
last
good
one,
one that
right?
has those. There's a couple stories where you're like, ooh,
Oh yeah, exactly. And it's got striptease werewolves, as we said, which is not a bad thing. Male or female, you would like that scene. So
mm-hmm.
so I think that's my third pick in moving people in slowly.
Perfect.
We've seen some great ones in the chat go through. We've seen The Exorcist. LG said The Crow, which is a great movie.
Yep.
I believe American Werewolf in London was mentioned, which is another great one.
Yep.
I love American Werewolf in London. I don't think it's as good as The Howling, but that's just my personal
Right.
opinion on that. They're both great
There's no
movies.
wrong answers with anything horror. I mean, some movies you might not like as much as others, or you
Hmm.
might stay away from. But honestly, there's a sub-genre in horror for everybody.
For everybody,
So,
yes.
it depends on what your pick is.
The thing says her first pick is Bride of Chucky.
Love it.
That's actually on my list of movies that's kind of
Yes.
surprised me. I agree with you. I think that's a great film. And LG said she's into 3 or 4 weeks of movies there by watching both the original and the new one.
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
so that's awesome. Um, my number 4,
Go for it.
Jaws.
Good one.
I know that there's a lot of people out there that well, not a lot. There's someone out there that you and I both know and care for deeply as a friend
Right.
who says Jaws is not a horror film. I
When you live
sorely
on Long
disagree.
Island, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
it
sorely
was.
disagree. This is where in my progression, my stepping up of horror films, that we start to introduce the tension factor,
Yeah.
right? Because Jaws, if not anything else, is great at building that tension to
Yep.
get you on the edge of your seat. I know people who do not like horror who love Jaws. My
Right.
wife is one of them, and so and that's why, because it's a great story, great acting, and the tension is just built slowly. The fact that they weren't able to show the shark until the end of the movie was a great thing, even though they wanted to show it in the first scene.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
really did a fantastic
Some
job.
great
And,
one-liners that come
mhm,
out of it.
and I will say this, as a very young man, watching this movie on that huge screen, seeing
Hmm.
that girl get flung back and forth in the first 10 minutes of the movie, if
Yeah.
that's not horrifying, I don't know what is.
But listen, I grew up on Long Island, so you had the ocean, you had the sound, you had the bay, depending on where I was on the island, one tip to the other tip. And so that movie and Amityville were just like too real, because
Hmm.
Amityville wasn't very far from where I lived, and I was surrounded by water on all sides. And we always swam in the ocean. And then that movie was like, I don't know, for a little bit, like when I first saw it at a way too young, probably 6 or 7, because my
Uh-huh.
cousin was a dick, and I wouldn't want to go in the swimming pool.
Wha-
Like, it scared
one
the
of
shit
my
out of me.
one of my close friends growing up, his dad took us to go see that, and had
Nice.
my mom or dad known, or my mom
Oh
known,
yeah,
oh, there would have been hell
hell
to
to
pay.
pay.
Oh yeah, because I was young, and it was awesome. It was a great time. Really was a good time.
Nice.
So what's next on your list,
My
sir?
number 4, I'm going with, which is funny. The thing throws out the Bride of Chucky. I am a huge fan of the Child's Play series.
Yes.
1 and 2 hit at the right time. I mean, I got my little Lego Chucky here. Uh, it hit at a good time with we had the My Buddy dolls. So like it hit at
Yeah.
that right time of like this was a thing. Like
Uh huh.
this was a thing that we all got these Cabbage Patch Kids, these little dolls that make believe friend, and to have them be you know uh possessed by Charles Lee Ray.
Yes.
Man, such a good. I love the series, and then when they brought Jennifer Tilly in it
Yeah.
as in
Perfect.
the Bride of Chucky, oh, she is so good, and just how they went overboard with the fact that she is Jennifer Tilly in a movie that
Yes.
about a doll who's possessed by Jennifer Tilly. Like,
Uh huh.
love it. I
Loved
love
it.
it. It's just
Absolutely
great.
loved it. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yep.
Um, and it's funny. Used and abused. Mentioned the 1986 Trick or Treat,
Hmm.
which was another Satanic Panic movie with an album being played backwards, backward masking,
Hmm.
reinvigorating Sammy Kerr, bringing him back from the dead, and it's
Hmm.
guest starred Gene Simmons as a DJ and Ozzy Osbourne as a televangelist. Hilarious,
Oh, so
hilarious.
good.
And the movie's horrible. Oh
Right.
my
Yeah.
god, it's horrible, but
It's
God, I loved it.
such tongue in cheek, and it was, and it came out during that time of everybody is they saw the devil in everything, and you're
Yes.
kids are learning Satanism from, you know, all these crazy bands and these movies, and nope,
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 nope.
no, you're wrong.
It was an interesting time to be a teenager. It really was.
Absolutely.
Yes. Hell House LLC. I was telling Chris early on that I have not seen any of these. They've been on my radar.
Hmm.
I just haven't had a chance to break into them yet. I want to. I
Yeah,
really do.
it's good. They're fun. I thought it was fun. They were fun movies to watch. They
Yep.
definitely kind of upped the ante. So, so what did you have for your last
I
entry into the
I can't.
horror realm?
I can't say anything other, but you have to watch. I cheated. I hope you don't mind,
Oh,
because I consider 1 and 2 to be the same movie. We've talked
oh,
about this.
gotcha.
Halloween 1 and 2. Right?
Mhm.
For multiple reasons that we did both of I said 1 and 2 together because to me they're one movie. One is the first one doubles down on the suspense that you get in Jaws, just flat out doubles down on it, and then the second one goes full bore, um, Friday the 13th style, Michael
Yes.
Rampage murder
Oh,
bot.
he
I
just
mean,
goes
just
off.
kill. Oh, so good. And when I was a teenager, I actually liked 2 better than 1, believe it or not.
Mhm.
Even with the bad wig, because Jamie Lee's wig was horrible in that. But the scene with the nurse and the clogs
Oof.
when he lifts her up and her shoes fall off as she
Yeah,
dies and
thunk
hits
thunk.
the floor, that scene lived in my head for free forever. So those are my top 5.
Perfect.
Trying to bring someone into the horror realm. What,
Right.
Chris, is your number
I
5?
had to add this because it's also, I think, an entry level where it's not the first one you would watch, but it is safer to watch Bear. But it's a Stephen King, another Corey movie, Corey Haim, The Silver Bullet. Um, we get some great acting performance out of these guys that are in it. I mean, what's his name?
Gary Busey.
Well, obviously Gary Busey, Everett McGill. He is great in some really good
I will,
horror
LG.
movies, and you get classic Gary. He
He
always
calls
calls
me
me.
that.
Just all I can picture. He is that loud drunk uncle. He's drunk
Oh, it's
uncle.
so
Um,
funny.
and I love his character through the thing where he's just that over the top kind of guy.
Yep,
Um,
I
and
agree.
it's great. It's got that creepiness to it where, the spoiler, the priest, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And there's some great parts, even from the werewolf point of view.
Yes.
When you get the fact that he is suffering from nightmares, basically, what you're doing is wrong. Kill
That that
yourself.
that scene in the church,
Whoa.
right? Oh, the dream, the church dream where they all start
Yeah.
changing.
They
Oh,
start
that was so good.
laughing and then they start changing.
Yeah, so good, so good. I agree.
Yeah.
Great movie, by the way. And the fact that they made that out of such a very short story, the cycle of the werewolf,
Yeah.
is so good. So, I
Yep.
agree with you wholeheartedly. So,
Fun movie. Fun movie.
um, I want to take a few moments here, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
and tell you what I did is I took all of the movies that were sent to me. I compiled a list, and I marked out which ones were mentioned the most. What does everyone think the number one movie that people across the internet would have recommended as a number one? Chris, would you like to guess?
Gotta be The Exorcist.
It is The Exorcist, of course. Yes. Number two was Halloween, the original, right?
Hmm.
And then my number 3 actually surprised me. Carrie was listed as number 3 again throughout my many people through the internet.
Hmm.
Um, 4 was the original Frankenstein. A bunch of people reached out and said how
That's
much
great.
they enjoy watching it. It's a great film.
That's
You
great.
can't
I
put
mean,
it down.
you're
It's one of
going
my
into
favorites.
these. That's a movie that's set up for what we have now. 100 years later,
Yep.
almost.
Yep. And
Uh,
still great.
Still
Still
good.
great.
Still good.
Um,
The story there is really, it's got some
I
depth.
I personally think The Bride's a better movie, but I agree. It's a great one. Number 5. All right, so I don't know if you want to say I cheated or not.
Mm.
Talking Dead can let me know if I cheated. Um, I had a Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead Rise mentioned over and over again. So
Mhm.
my number 5, in accordance to the internet, to everyone who reached out to me, was the Evil Dead series because there was
Right.
so many different ones that they chose. So I kind of just lumped them together.
Yep.
And then, believe it or not, number 6 fell outside. The Shining was outside of all that. There were
Nice.
more people who said they would rather watch an Evil Dead movie than The Shining.
Yeah. I got a couple Shinings. Mm.
Mm. Thank you, LG. She gave me permission to said that works. Now, some honorable mentions on this list were Texas Chainsaw, Poltergeist. I actually figured more people would say that one.
Yep.
Pearl, an honorable mention on that one,
That was a
for
great one.
myself, truly.
Mhm.
Borderlands, and of course, someone that we all knows, number one was Sharknado. We're not going to say who that was.
Well,
Um,
well, LG. Now it's funny because she actually threw that in there to kind of throw a curveball at you. It's actually
I
not
figured
her
she did.
first one.
I
Yeah,
figured she did.
she chose The Exorcist. But and if you're gonna go with Sharknado, start with 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Start with two. I tell you another one that threw me off, and I'm sorry, I'm looking down, everybody. I'm actually looking at my list. Someone sent me the original. Let the Right One In.
Mm,
The American remake was called Let Me In. I
let me in.
loved it.
That was a
Have
good
not
one.
seen the original, want to, but I saw that and I was like, wow, that's great. And they also, same person gave me Train to Busan as their favorite zombie movie. I can't disagree with that.
No, no, it's a great one.
Yep.
Yeah, and I got some responses on mine. Again, same as yours. The Exorcist was always on the top there. I think The Exorcist bonds a lot of people,
Hmm.
just because the type of horror, it's that religious horror makes you feel uncomfortable.
Very.
So yeah, that's one of mine that I would have chosen. Again, Shining, Carrie, those were mentioned quite a few times,
Hmm.
and it's cool to see because Carrie is, I think, a staple.
It is.
It's that psychological yet supernatural horror. That's it's almost like it could happen. You
Hmm.
you know you can imagine it more than others. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another great one.
Yep.
Mentioned a few times.
Yep.
Same there. Those are the staples. I've gotten a couple good ones. Somebody fell from a loft. Um, yeah, there's these next few are going on a list because my man Keith reached out and was like, check these out. So
Okay.
somebody fell from a loft, the dead man's hand, the haunted house, one Sunday morning, and maybe you will remember, which is an Alfred Hitchcock's
Yeah.
Presents episode. So
Yeah.
that
Do
one I'm
me a
aware.
favor. Send those to me. I'd love to dig into some of those. That sounds
Definitely,
awesome. That sounds
definitely.
awesome.
Those were the ones that were off the hook there. Gap threw in there Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are those classic,
Classics.
the
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
trio. You throw in Chainsaw in there for the quartet. They're out there, singing barbershop songs and slaying people. So
I will also say that I was shocked that on none of my lists that were sent to me, and I mean none of them,
mhm.
Scream did not appear. I honestly went into this thinking that it would.
I got it mentioned a couple times, but it was always lower down on the list. So it's out there. It's not completely.
Hunter, hold on to your hat on that one, sir. We're going to talk about that in just a second.
Yep. Actually, that's one of the next top ones that somebody brought up, and
Yep.
make it a point to say it's the OG one,
Yes.
coming to get you, Barbara.
Not
Um,
Shaun of the Dead. We're coming to get you, Barbara. But we like
right.
that one too.
Although that one's
Um,
good.
so I put a secondary list together.
Okay.
And we don't have to spend a lot of time, but I think by telling you these, and you're going to kind of get an idea of a little bit more about my horror journey. These were the songs, songs. Listen to me. These were the movies that I remember watching. Okay, so keep in mind I was born in 1968, right?
Mhm.
And I was born the same year as Night of the Living Dead was
Right.
released. I remember having to climb up into my parents' bed. I was sick, and had spent we didn't have air conditioning in the house growing up, but my parents had a window unit,
Mhm.
and so if one of us got fairly ill, we would spend time sleeping in their room,
Right.
and they would sleep in like the guest area or whatever. Um, but I remember having to climb up into my mom's bed to watch, and I stayed up. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and my mom watched it with me to watch King Kong for the first time.
Oh, good stuff.
And as a 7-year-old, 6-year-old watching this black and white movie in the dark, is it a horror film? Probably not by today's standards, but by those standards, it absolutely was.
Yeah.
And seeing Kong, fight those dinosaurs, and then him reaching into that window and grabbing her out, and all those things. That movie was really formed my love for the monster film.
Right.
Because my second one that I remember watching, and again, these were movies that I told Chris, I went back to my mind and was like, what movie did actually formed my love? Was
Mhm.
Godzilla the original.
Right.
Um, Scared the living hell out of me the first time I saw it. And then when I later in life, when I got to see Gojira, the actual Japanese version, I was like, oh shit, I really get why it scared me.
Right.
Um, but I was maybe 9 years old when I was visiting my grandparents, and my aunt said, "Hey, there's a good movie on tonight. You want to come over and watch with me?" I said, "Absolutely." And we watched the 1956 Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh,
You talk about a film that is dripping with atmosphere. That movie scared the living hell out of me. I did not
right.
sleep that night. Oh God. God bless her heart, because she was the only one who got it. And every time I was in Corbin, if there was a horror movie on, she'd like, all right, that's where I saw Frankenstein the first time,
Mhm.
Bride the first time, the Wolfman. Um, and then as a teenager, when On TV came out, it was funny. I was talking to someone about On TV the other day. On TV was like a predecessor of cable,
Yeah.
and you had a little box that's on top of your TV. And once it hit 9 o'clock, you could flip the switch, and it would descramble the movies.
Right.
And I was, like I said, I was maybe 10, 11 years old, and I watched George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead for the first time.
Good
And
stuff.
them, that slow walking, and the raw meat and all that stuff. Oh,
Mhm.
it really affected me. And the ending of that movie, as dark as it was in 1968, still affected the hell out of me.
Right.
At 7 years old, my number five. At 7 years old, way, way too young, watching Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
I've
The
discussed this with you a
miniseries,
couple of
man. The
times.
miniseries is creepy as heck.
Oh man, when you're watching that as a 7-year-old, and that little boy who sits up in that coffin, or
Oh.
scratching on the window, and I'm with you on that one, Scott. Piranha scared me too when I was a kid. Um, you know, um, him sitting in that rocker with those glowing eyes. Oh, that movie was just horrible. Love it to this day. It's one of my favorites. It scared the hell out of me. Matter of fact, we were talking before we went live about
Mhm.
the new release that's on Max, and you and I have the same opinion of it. We both
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It's not a great movie. It's not something that I would need to watch again. Hello, Nadia. Good to see you. Um, but I enjoyed it. I think there were some scenes in it that were fabulous. When you're
Mhm.
seeing all, and it's not spoiling anything
Yeah.
by any means,
No, no.
but there's a scene where they show one of our heroes locked up in a tree house, and that tree is full of children vampires. Oh my God, it's creepy. So well done.
Yeah.
So well
Yeah.
done. I've already
Definitely has some
broken your
moments in
list
there.
out, Nadia. We were talking about, as a whole, the top five movies that we would um, recommend to people. And I had made a list of the top 5 movies that I watched as a child. And the
Right.
original Salem's Lot, 1975, I was 7 years old or so when I watched it, and how scary it was. So we were just comparing it just slightly to 2024, but
Right.
did not want to get into any spoilers.
No, no, no.
So,
Yeah, because I just watched the rest of it today. So I
so,
tried.
so if you were going to go back in time, Chris, and look back at your earliest memories, what do you think?
I'll tell you what, it's a 1 and 2, Phantasm. The Tall Man got me at a young age. I was still in New York. It had to be like 5 or 6, and
Hmm.
it gave me nightmares. Like, well, not just the ball, but his face,
The
the
imagery in that
the
movie.
imagery in the
Hmm.
movie. It shows up, and it's been a recurring, like, now, you know, down the line here, 40 some years later, it's not a nightmare, but it's a recurring dream that I've been
Yes.
having since I was a kid, that used to scare the hell out of me as a kid. And every now and then, usually when I'm sick, it's like a fever dream or something. I'll sleep and I will be in that moment. And I am a kid. And it's like, what the? I'm here again. So
Yeah.
the Tall Man messed me up, 1979. So I was 2 when it came out. It wasn't that long afterwards that I've seen it. I want to say about 5.
I
And
saw it
oof.
at drive-in
Mm,
when it was released in
right.
Corbin.
Right.
Um, and it was on my list of the 5,
Mhm.
until my memory was jarred of Nightmare on Elm Street, so I had to move some things around.
Right.
Night of the Living Dead. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than
Uh,
that, we got some really other good movies in here. Lighthouse, the Thing brought up there. Thing, I s- it was a good movie.
I haven't seen
Creepy.
that one yet.
It's creepy. I enjoyed it. It's definitely a psychological thing.
Yes.
Isolation. I thought it was a
Well,
fantastic movie.
well, you know as well as I do how much the isolation horror I think works so well. That's one of the
Right.
reasons why we love The Thing as much as we do.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. Critters. Another good series, fun series. Entry-ish level, as long as you're 18.
Yep.
I think because that's the main portion of it.
Yep.
Monster Squad goes into the fun movies, man. Like
Uh,
Wolfman's got nards. Uh, uh, love that movie. I truly love that movie. It's a great movie. I've got some art in front of me here
That's awesome.
from it. It's
That's awesome.
so good. Um, Amityville Horror and the
Yes.
remake Ryan Reynolds. Do you think he could be in a horror movie, play a psychopath, or at least
You
have
watch it.
psychopathic tendencies?
Yep.
Check it out. It's worth it. It was a good redo.
He's got a another one. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head where he is a he's a psychopath and he's a killer, and he's like dating this girl, and she she discovers that he's a killer through the whole thing. It was
Oh,
an interesting, it was a
the
strange but interesting movie.
awesome.
I can't remember
Uh,
the name of it off the top of my head, but it was like, ooh. eh.
yeah. I don't
So
know. I don't remember that one.
Um,
Um,
someone in the chat, I believe it was LG, also mentioned that she feels that this is a good time of year to watch Rocky Horror,
yeah, yeah. Rocky Horror, and of course, the Rocky Horror of the Next Generation, Repo, the Genetic Opera.
which I would rather watch over Rocky
I'll watch
Horror
them
personally.
both. It's just they're fun, um, and they've got some dark things they touch on, but they do it in a great way. The music.
Yep.
I'm not a musical guy. And those two are they're good movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I
They're
agree with
very
you.
enjoyable.
I agree
Um,
with you.
one day we'll
Susan
do that
Sarandon,
whole live.
one of the only movies with Susan Sarandon in it that I actually liked. So there you go.
Good point. Good point.
Uh, Anyway, LG
Damn
says
it,
she's
Janet.
never seen Repo. You need to watch it
Tried
because
it on a couple occasions. Got to watch it. It's got Paris Hilton is the perfect person for the role she
she
plays in that
is. Oh
movie.
my god,
I
she's
would
so
never
good.
cast her in stuff except for this. She was perfect.
Oh, absolutely. And besides that, as you will learn by watching this, Zytrate comes in a little
Mm,
glass vial.
a little glass vial.
A little glass vial.
It's true.
It
It's
is.
true. It does.
Uh,
Um, Blair Witch Project, as much of hate the movie gets, it busted out with the found footage in your face, um, for me, I think the scariest part was the girl dripping snot onto the camera. I could have done without that body horror.
I
Um,
literally turned that movie off when it was over and
it's
went,
not
yeah,
everybody's
that's an hour and a
thing.
half of
I
my
get
life I'll
that.
never get back.
It's one of those like I don't know. It got its place, man. It holds a place. A lot
It
of
does.
people enjoy it.
I
I
give it
won't fault you
credit.
for enjoy it. They did something different. And they got away with it.
I give them credit. The marketing for the movie was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
People went into it not
in your
knowing for sure if
face,
it was real or not.
right?
The movie was horrible, but it did give us a foothold into that found footage.
Yeah, and
Um,
some great movies have come from that. Well, new
yep.
one just came out, VHS Beyond. Fun series in there of the same style of found footage. You put it out there. You've got Paranormal Activity wouldn't be around
Hmm. Yep.
without it. It's
Cloverfield, the original Cloverfield was
Cloverfield,
done.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's and when they did it, Cloverfield was one of those ones where not only did they have the found footage, but there were websites connected to,
Yep.
so you could go down rabbit holes of so many different things. So yeah,
Very, very, very funny.
fun time.
LG said Paris Hilton with question marks. Yes, Paris Hilton actually plays a part in Repo the Genetic Opera that is could have not been played, I don't think, by anyone else. She was literally perfect for it.
Perfect.
And when she's singing at one point and her face starts to peel and she's trying to hold it on, that
Oh,
scene, I won't go any further. That scene made the whole flippin' movie
that
worth
was great.
watching for me.
It
It
was
was
great.
great.
Yeah, what we go to. Let's see. We've got Signs.
Great
That was a
mention.
great one for the time. When that alien pops out from the bushes, we were all in the closet with Joaquin Phoenix going, "Oh!"
No. I will. You don't have to tell me to swing one more time. Just stop.
Swing one.
Just stop. Mm,
Yes, Repo is on Pluto.
yes. Good.
Check it
Good.
out.
Good.
Faculty, good one. Uh,
Yes.
we
We've talked
covered
about
that
that
one.
show on
We covered
on
that
our
one.
channel.
Fun movie. We've got I will say I came in as an honorable mention for somebody else, 13 Ghosts. Uh I enjoyed that. I wish we got more of it. Because the
Yes.
backstory for each ghost was so cool. And you got that in the commentary kind of section. If they keep
Wouldn't it be neat if they kind of jumped into it a little bit
Oh
and
yeah,
gave us
fleshed
more
it
on
out
the
a
ghosts
little bit
themselves?
more. Um, Made the movie because I think it was only like a hour and a half movie. If they gave us a little bit more, it would have been perfect. And if you want to redo it again, and just make sure you bring Matthew Lillard back because I love that dude and he was awesome in this movie.
Absolutely.
He's Shaggy. He's everybody, man. Bring
Yes.
him in. Starship Troopers, like he's my guy. I love that guy.
I agree
So
with you. Yeah, Ubaldo, please be careful while driving and
yes.
don't get yourself into any trouble. It's not worth it, buddy. It's not worth it at all.
No, not at all. No, be
So,
safe. Yeah, that pretty much kind of brings everything together that was here. A lot of the ones that you mentioned as well made the list as far as stuff. Those are other than, like I said, the quartet, the barbershop quartet of Leatherface, Freddie, Jason, Michael, love them.
love them.
Those are obvious choices. If you're picking one of those, classic right from the get
Yep.
go.
And I'm one of the few people that you'll meet who's a horror movie fan that doesn't care for the Hellraiser series. I don't know why. Just
Mm,
never bit me. I don't know.
yeah, it's one of those things. I'm a big Pinhead fan. I just love his story.
Although you were talking about recurring nightmares, the Hellbite that comes
The
in and he's got
Cenobites, yeah.
the teeth.
Oh, the Chatterer, yeah, the
That
Chatterer,
was
the Cenobite.
as soon as I saw him, I was white knuckling the seat. My buddy's like, "Dude, are you okay?" Because I had recurring nightmares about something with that type of teeth.
I
And
messed
yeah,
you
it
up.
was not good. Not good at all. Anyway, we're not going to go into that. We're going to move on. And
Right,
what do we got
not
coming up,
scares.
Chris?
We've got some. We're doing some fun things. It's spooky season, so I'm trying to pump out some TikToks, putting all kinds of different movie clips together, throwing them out there. Maybe with a little music, maybe not. just because it's that time of year. We're just having fun with it. And
Yes.
speaking of fun, we've got Thursday coming.
And we've got a really neat one this week. This
What are we
is
watching this
Scary Stories That You Tell in the Dark.
Yes. Yes, and this is my first watch of it, coming into it, and yours
Yep.
as well. It's been recommended. It's actually in a couple of the lists, of people of that say you should watch this movie. Good anthology. So those are fun. We love creep shows. We love
Yep.
Trick or Treat. So
Yep. And this one is similar to Goosebumps, is based on a book series,
mhm,
and so it's going to be a fun talk on that one on Thursday. And then and then also that movie takes place on Halloween, which we're trying to have a Halloween theme this month. So
definitely.
we have some things planned to coming down the road. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the people about,
No,
Chris?
you can catch us on all of our socials by simply going to bio.link/graverev, and there'll be a clickable link in the chat here. Um, you could catch us on our TikTok, our Facebook, our Insta, our X. You can also check out our merch shop. We've got some great logos out there. The Tuesdays Terrors, the Thursdays Night Frights, as well as our grave reviews, of course. And find that on there. You could also find our email, in which case you can email us or DM us on any of those things. It'll get to us pretty quickly if it's not direct.
Yes.
And let us know what you're watching. Let us know what you would like to see us watch, maybe rank. There's been a couple things. If there's something you really want to talk about and you'd like to come on and talk to us about it, hit us
We're
up.
open
We'll
for
try
that
to
too.
figure something up. We've got a couple people we're trying to work with in the future to try to get on the show, our timelines kind of at least overlap a little bit. And if it's not live, maybe we can do a pre-recording or something. But
Hmm.
definitely reach out to us. LG was nice enough to throw the link in the chat there. So, like I said, our bio link. Click that. It gives you all of the Grave Reviews presents social media. Until we see you again, stay spooky, my friends.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you how much we appreciate you. We hope you have a wonderful spooky season. I was walking out of the grocery store the other day, and this young lady who helps me a lot there is a young bagger. She's been there for a while. And I looked at her and I said to her what I say to you every week, which is, ladies and gentlemen, until we see each other again, may all your nightmares be groovy. And she loved it. And I hope you love it too. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you then.